What is news? Before you can begin to write news, you really do need to understand what it is. To a lot of people, news is about people doing stuff. News is new stuff. You've got your new bit, you've got your S, you've got your new stuff, news. And that's what news is for me. To have news that you could write about, you have to have a news peg. You have to be hitting it from an angle. There's tramps in Winchester. There are tramps in Winchester, but why is it news? A tramp in Winchester goes crazy and kills a lot of people. That is news. Start doing stuff about the homeless people if they start going crazy. The news you're writing must be relevant. So say you're in a Christmas theme, you can't start writing about top 10 ways to spend your summer unless your angle is anti-Christmas. Another thing about successful news writing is that you have to write about people, animals, things that are relevant to your readership. Obviously, when you go into writing news, you have an idea who your audience is, and you're told who you're going to be writing for. You have to have an idea about who they are and why you're writing it. You're not using emotive language, so you really need to get to their emotions in the topic you choose. It must be true. If it's not true, then it's not news, because it's not new stuff. It's not people doing stuff. It's people might have done stuff. It's people haven't done stuff, but I'm going to say they've done stuff. That's not how journalists roll, apparently. It's got to be true, it's got to be lawful, or we're going to get sued. And we can't be one-sided in the news. We must have a balance, because that's not news, that's opinions. You're putting yourself in the situation. You really must show the events. You can't say this person is a murderer just because they look dodgy. You can say this person is a murderer if they've been convicted of murder, and then you can say what you want about them, because they've already lost a lot of their reputation. Getting to the important bits of how to actually write news. First, you go back to your old school days of who, what, when, where, why. Maybe how. Probably not how. Who, what, when, and where is what you're going to be hitting. Your introduction's got to be short, it's got to be sharp, and it's got to have the latest information or the most interesting information. With who, go straight for people. Don't talk about police. Don't talk about cars. Talk about the people. And then talk about what's happened, where it's happened, when it's happened. First 20 words get who, what, where, and when. Going on to your second paragraph in a story, you elaborate a little bit more. You get your second most important information in. You might get your why in. You try and get a quote in if you can. If you can get a quote in your second paragraph, you're doing well for yourself. Going on to the third paragraph, you're still thinking chronologically, running through the events, and you add more detail to it. This is the bit where you add your why. The reader's been hooked now. He wants to know what's going on, presuming your reader's a he. And a few do's or don'ts. Never start with a question. No one wants to be asked something when they're reading, not with news. People want to know what it is, they don't want to be messed about. Second, as I said, it's got to be balanced. You can never have opinion. Don't describe the news story. Don't say this is horrific news story. Just get it done. They know it's interesting. They know it's going to be a good story. If they're buying your paper, they expect it to be good. Use short sentences. No one wants to read a novel when they're picking up a newspaper, especially not today's readers with internet apps on their iPads, iPhones, Blackberries, etc. Get rid of every word that's not essential. For example, with fresh fish sold here, get rid of fresh. People know if they're selling fish, it's going to be fresh. You can't be selling rotten fish. Get rid of here. If you're putting fish sold here, then people know where the fish is going to be sold, unless there's a sign pointing to where the fish is. You can get rid of sold as well. You're not trying to buy it, so just put fish. That's your sign. That's going to get people in. That's what they want to know. The important part to it. Avoid the drop intros. Avoid something that's trying to build up the tension. Just get it over with straight away. As I said, it's not a novel. People don't care about how well you can describe it. With words you use in or phrases, if you don't understand it, your readers aren't going to understand it. Use simple words or common words. Even if it's scientific, if it's a common word, most people will know it. And finally, stick to your code of conduct. If you're writing for a company, then they're going to have a code in there. Like when I did work experience, the newspaper I was working for always capitalised the first word of every story. This is something they do that keeps the theme of their newspaper going. Try and read that, talk to your editor about it, stick to it, write some news. Don't write novels, write news.